Hey guys, tonight we're diving into a ridiculous tale from the Greek pantheon, where even the king of the gods, Zeus, can have an off day. Picture this. You're standing in a velvet dark meadow, stars pulsing overhead like they're gossiping about the cosmos. The air's crisp, tingling your skin, and there's a faint hum-like divine static hinting something's gone terribly wrong. You're about to witness Zeus, thunderbolt in hand, pacing like a mortal who's lost his car. Keys. Except it's not keys. It's Mount Olympus, the whole dang divine HQ, misplaced. Yeah, you probably won't survive this level of godly chaos, but let's roll with it. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. I love knowing where you're chilling. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're ankle deep in dew-soaked grass, the kind that squishes under your sandals and makes you regret not wearing boots. The meadow stretches endless, a cosmic nowhere land between mortal earth and the gods' glitzy realm. Zeus is here, and he's not the regal, beard-stroking deity you'd expect. His toga's wrinkled, his golden laurel crown's lopsided, and he's muttering to himself. I parked it right here, didn't I? His voice booms, shaking the ground, and you duck behind a boulder to avoid his wild gestures. Mount Olympus cloud-capped, glittering, the ultimate divine real estate has vanished, and Zeus looks like he's about to smite the nearest shrub in frustration. You catch a whiff of ozone, sharp and electric, as Zeus hurls a tiny thunderbolt into the distance. It fizzles out, sparking a patch of wildflowers that now smell like burnt toast. You stifle a laugh, big bad Zeus, undone by a perking blunder. But this isn't just a funny oops. In ancient Greek lore, Olympus was the untouchable seat of the gods, described by Homer as unshaken and eternal. Losing it? That's like misplacing the White House. Scholars still argue whether Olympus was a physical peak or a metaphysical plane. But tonight, it's definitely AWOL. You creep closer, curious, as Zeus scratches his head. His eyes, stormy gray, scan the horizon. You notice his sandals custom-made, probably by Hephaestus, with little lightning bolt engravings. They're caked in mud, a sign he's been wandering for hours. A quirky tidbit floats to mind. Ancient Greeks believed gods could misplace there. Divine tools, like when Hermes borrowed Apollo's cattle. Forgetting a whole mountain, though, that's next level. You wonder if Zeus partied too hard with Dionysus last night, but that's a theory for later. The meadow hums louder now, and you feel a pull, like the air's nudging you forward. Zeus doesn't see you. He's too busy pacing, but you're caught in his orbit. You glance at the stars, wondering if they're snickering at this divine sitcom. A breeze carries a faint echo of harp music, probably Apollo warming up somewhere, and you can't help but smirk. If Apollo gets wind of this, Zeus is never living it down. You take a step, and the grass crunches, loud enough to make you freeze. Zeus spins, thunderbolt raised, and you're pretty sure you're about to be a crispy mortal kebab. Who's there? He roars, voice like a storm front. You dive behind a tree, heart pounding, and peek out. He's glaring at nothing, paranoid. And you realize he's not just mad, he's embarrassed. The king of the gods, caught in a screw-up. You bite your lip to keep from giggling, but it's tough. The guy's got an ego bigger than the Aegean, and here he is, lost in a field like a tourist without GPS. You decide to tail him, keeping low. The meadow slopes downward, and you spot faint glowing footprints Zeus's, no doubt, infused with divine energy. They lead toward a shimmering haze, like a cosmic fog. You're not sure what's on the other side, but it's your only lead. Zeus stomps ahead, muttering about Hera's inevitable lecture, and you can't blame him. Hera's got a stare that could curdle ambrosia. You follow, careful not to trip over roots that seem to twist just to mess with you. As you move, the air thickens, smelling of pine and something sweeter nectar, maybe. You're entering a liminal space where mortal and divine rules get blurry. A mainstream fact: the Greeks saw Olympus as a bridge between worlds, a place where gods could lounge, but mortals rarely tread. Losing it disrupts that balance, and you feel it in the way the ground pulses underfoot. A fringe rumor pops up. Some ancient mystics claimed Olympus could wander if the gods neglected it. Did Zeus skip a divine maintenance check? You wouldn't. Put it past him. You're deep in the haze now, visibility down to a few feet. Zeus's silhouette is all you've got, his broad shoulders hunched like he's carrying the sky, which, okay, he's done before. You hear a distant cackle, maybe. A nymph or a satyr, and you wonder if the whole pantheon's in on this prank. Your sandals are soaked, your tunic's sticking to your back, and you're starting to think this adventure's more trouble than it's worth. But then Zeus stops, dead still, and you nearly crash into him. He's staring at something a faint, golden glow in the fog. Gotcha, he whispers, and you lean forward, pulse racing. Is it Olympus? A clue? Or just another divine red herring? The glow pulses, and you feel a tug, like the universe is daring you to keep going. Zeus takes a step, and you're right behind him, ready to see where this cosmic wild goose chase leads next. You're slogging through a cosmic haze, the air thick with a glittery mist that clings to your skin like celestial damp laundry. Zeus is ahead, his glowing footprints your only guide as they shimmer faintly, fading like a bad signal. You're in what feels like the universe's biggest parking lot, except instead of cars, you're dodging divine chariots and winged contraptions that hum with godly energy. The ground's no longer grass, but a smooth, star-flecked surface, stretching endless under a sky that's more nebula than night. You're tailing Zeus, who's still muttering about his missing mountain, and you can't help but wonder if he's ever lost anything this big before. Probably not, but with his track record, you wouldn't bet against it. The haze parts slightly, and you spot a gleaming chariot parked at an angle, taking up 3 spaces like a divine jerk. It's Apollo's, no doubt golden, gaudy, with sunburst. Hubcaps that practically scream, "Look at me." You roll your eyes. Typical Apollo, parking like he owns the cosmos. Nearby, there's a sleek, wave-blue trident-embellished rigged Poseidon's, probably, and a rickety cart with grapevines tangled around it, reeking of wine. Dionysus doesn't strike you as a designated driver. You stifle a chuckle. If Olympus is parked here, it's probably wedged between 2 badly parked chariots, and Zeus is too flustered to notice. You duck behind a hovering platform that smells faintly of brimstone Hades' ride, maybe? As Zeus stomps past, his thunderbolt casting jittery shadows. He's scanning the lot, looking more like a frazzled mortal at a mall than the king of the gods. You feel a pang of sympathy, but then you remember he once turned a guy into a stag for less, so you keep your distance. The air buzzes with a low hum, like 1,000 celestial engines idling, and you catch a whiff of ambrosia, sweet and heady, mingling with the sharp tang of ozone. A mainstream fact floats up. Ancient Greeks believed the gods' vehicles, like chariots, were extensions of their power, often described in epic poems as blazing across the sky. This lot feels like a divine impound yard, where those mythic rides are stashed. A quirky tidbit: some ancient vase paintings show gods bickering over parking spots in the heavens, which, honestly, tracks with the chaos you're seeing. Historians still argue whether these cosmic vehicles were literal or symbolic, but right now, you're dodging a glowing wheel that's rolling solo, so it feels pretty real. You creep forward, staying low, as Zeus approaches a massive, eagle-shaped shuttle. It's his. You're sure those lightning bolt decals are a dead giveaway. He pats it fondly, then curses when he realizes Olympus isn't parked nearby. You bite your lip to keep from laughing. A guy's so distracted, he might have parked his mountain in the mortal realm and forgotten. You notice the shuttle's dashboard glowing, a map of stars pulsing on it. You squint, trying to make out details, but it's all divine GPS gibberish. Still, it's a clue maybe Olympus left a cosmic breadcrumb trail. The lot stretches on, and you spot weirder rides. A swan-shaped boat, Aphrodite's, no doubt. A chariot with owl motifs, Athena's, obviously, and something that looks like. A flaming BBQ grill on wheels, probably Ares' idea of subtle. You're tempted to take a selfie with one, but the last thing you need is a god smiting you for Instagram clout. Zeus is moving faster now, his steps echoing like distant thunder, and you hustle to keep up. The mist swirls, revealing a neon sign, yes, a neon sign that reads Olympus Valet. No toga, no service. You snort. Even the gods have bureaucracy. You're starting to feel the weight of this place, like the air's pressing down, whispering that mortals don't belong here. Your sandals slip on the starry ground, and you catch yourself on a chariot's wing, which actually honks like a pissed-off goose. You freeze, but Zeus doesn't turn, too busy kicking a cosmic curb in frustration. You're not sure whether to be relieved or offended that you're beneath his notice. The honk lingers, drawing a faint cackle from the mist, and you swear you see a satyr's silhouette dart by, probably spying for Hermes. That guy's always got his ear to the ground, and you bet he's already spreading gossip about Zeus's blunder. You follow Zeus toward a cluster of parked platforms, their edges glowing with runes you can't read. One's got a dent, like someone backed into a star, and you wonder if divine insurance covers that. The air shifts, carrying a faint harp riff Apollo again, probably live streaming this mess to the nymphs. You smirk, imagining the hashtag. Hashtag Zeus lost his mountain. But your amusement fades as Zeus stops dead, staring at a patch of empty space. His shoulders slump, and for a second, he looks vulnerable. You blink, thrown. The king of the gods, brought low by a parking fail. You edge closer, heart thumping, and notice the ground here is different scuffed, like something massive was dragged away. Olympus? You kneel, running your fingers over the marks, and feel a faint pulse, like the mountains. Essence lingers. Zeus hasn't noticed, too busy glaring at the sky, like it personally betrayed him. You're tempted to shout, "Hey, big guy, look down," but you'd rather not be a lightning rod. Instead, you memorize the spot, hoping it's a lead. Mist thickens again, and Zeus starts moving, his steps heavier, like he's carrying the weight of his own ego. You trail him, dodging a rogue comet that zips by, trailing glitter. The lot feels alive, shifting underfoot, and you're starting to think Olympus didn't just get lost. It might have been towed. Or stolen. You shiver, picturing Poseidon's smug grin or Hermes' sticky fingers. Whoever's behind this, you're in deep, and the cosmic parking lot's only the start. You're trailing Zeus through the cosmic parking lot, the starry ground slick under your sandals, when a sharp chill cuts through the mist. It's not just the air, it's the kind of cold that makes your bones whisper. You're in trouble. You glance up, and there she is, Hera, queen of the gods, hovering on a peacock-feathered platform that looks like it was designed to shame every other ride in the lot. Her eyes, sharp as obsidian, lock onto Zeus, and you swear the stars dim. A little, you duck behind a glowing chariot wheel, heart hammering, because Hera's not here to chat. She's here to interrogate, and you're caught in the crossfire of a divine domestic spat. Zeus freezes, thunderbolt dangling like a kid caught sneaking cookies. "Hera, darling," he starts, voice smoother than olive oil, but she's not buying it. You feel the air tighten, like the universe is holding its breath. Hera's toga shimmers with emerald threads, and her crown of lotuses glints like it's daring you to stare. You don't. You're too busy praying she doesn't notice you. A mortal snooping in her cosmic backyard. The mist swirls, carrying a faint scent of jasmine and righteous fury. And you know this is about to get messy. You're late, Hera says, her voice low, each word a blade. And Olympus is missing? The question hangs, heavy as a storm cloud. You wince, imagining Zeus's usual excuses chasing nymphs, smiting mortals, the usual. But losing their divine headquarters? That's a new low, even for him. You peek out, catching Zeus's sheepish grin, and you can't help but smirk. Big bad thunder god, squirming like a teenager caught ditching school. You'd laugh, but Hera's glare could probably turn you into a particularly sad-looking shrub. She floats closer, her platform humming with a soft, menacing drone. Explain, she demands, and you feel the word vibrate in your chest. Zeus stammers, gesturing vaguely at the lot. I parked it here, I swear. Just a quick stop at Dionysus's tavern. And Hera's eyebrow arches, and you know he's toast. You stifle a chuckle. Zeus partying with Dionysus explains the mud on his sandals and the nectar stains on his toga. You're tempted to whisper, rookie move, dude, but you'd rather keep your mortal privileges. A mainstream fact slips in. Hera, in Greek myth, was the goddess of marriage and family, fiercely protective of her role and Zeus's fidelity or lack thereof. Her wrath was legendary, often aimed at Zeus's lovers or their offspring. Tonight, though, it's all for him, and you're glad you're not in his sandals. A quirky tidbit. Some ancient cults believed Hera could curse entire cities if Zeus embarrassed her publicly. Losing Olympus? That's city-cursing territory. Historians still argue whether Hera's jealousy was justified or exaggerated by patriarchal storytellers. But right now, her anger feels like a cosmic law. You shift, trying to stay invisible, but your sandal scrapes the starry ground. Hera's head snaps toward you, and you freeze, heart in your throat. Her eyes narrow, scanning the shadows, and you're pretty sure you're about to be a cautionary tale. But Zeus, bless his chaotic heart, distracts her. It's not what you think, he blurts, waving his thunderbolt like a pointer at a bad presentation. Someone moved it, Hera. Probably Poseidon, that smug barnacle. Hera cuts him off with a look that could curdle ambrosia, and you exhale, safe for now. She steps off her platform, landing with a grace that makes the ground hum. You notice her peacock feathers shimmering, with tiny stars, like she's woven the night sky into her aesthetic. You expect me to believe Poseidon stole Olympus? She asks, voice dripping with sarcasm. You bite your lip to keep from giggling. Hera's got a point. Poseidon's more likely to flood a city than pull off a heist this big. But Zeus doubles down, ranting about his brother's shady Tidal vibes, and you realize he's grasping at straws. You're still crouched, the chariot wheel warm against your back, when you notice something odd. Hera's platform has a faint glow, like it's tracking something. You squint, spotting a tiny map etched into its surface, pulsing with golden lines. Is she already hunting Olympus? You lean closer, careful not to knock anything over, and see a blinking dot labeled O. Your pulse quickens. Could that be the mountain? You're tempted to sneak a photo, but divine tech probably doesn't vibe with mortal cameras. Plus, Hera would definitely notice. The argument escalates, Zeus's voice booming like thunder. Hera's slicing like a cold wind. You catch snippets something about Dionysus's wine, a shady satyr, and a mortal bar Zeus definitely didn't visit. You roll your eyes. Zeus's lies are flimsier than a nymph's veil. But Hera's not just mad, she's calculating. You see it in the way her fingers tap her scepter, each tap sparking tiny flames. She's piecing something together, and you're not sure Zeus is ready for it. You decide to move, keeping low, as the mist thickens again. The lot's still buzzing, chariots humming in the distance, and you hear a faint lyre riff Apollo, probably eavesdropping. You smirk, imagining him composing a ballad about Zeus's screw-up. The ground shifts slightly, and you spot more scuff marks, like the ones you saw before, leading away from Hera's platform. You pause, glancing back at her. She's still grilling Zeus, but her eyes flick toward the marks, and you realize she's not as clueless as he thinks. You follow the trail, heart pounding, as Zeus's voice fades behind you. The marks glow faintly, like they're infused with divine residue, and you wonder if Olympus is closer than anyone realizes. The mist swirls, carrying a faint cackle, definitely a satyr, and you feel the stakes rising. Hera's on the hunt. Zeus is floundering, and you're stuck in the middle, chasing a mountain that might not want to be found. You're slipping through the cosmic parking lot, the starry ground pulsing under your sandals, as the echoes of Hera's icy interrogation fade behind you. The mist is thinner now, revealing a golden glow that cuts through the haze like a spotlight. You squint, heart skipping, and spot Apollo, lounging on his sun chariot like it's a divine convertible. His lyre's propped against a glowing wheel, and he's strumming lazily, his golden curls catching the light. You pause, half hidden behind a hovering disk that smells faintly of burnt sage, probably Artemis's ride. Apollo's smug grin tells you he knows exactly what's up with Zeus's missing mountain, and you're about to witness him rub it in. You inch closer, the air warm with a faint solar tang like sun-baked stone. Apollo's chariot is parked at a cocky angle, its sunburst hubcaps spinning slowly, casting flecks of light that dance across your tunic. You roll your eyes. This guy's ego could power a small galaxy. Zeus is trudging toward him, thunderbolt, dim, looking like a kid who lost his homework. Apollo, Zeus grumbles. You see anything unusual? Apollo's grin widens, and you stifle a snort. Unusual? Like a whole mountain vanishing? You're already bracing for the sarcasm. Apollo leans back, plucking a lyre string that hums like a cosmic dial tone. Father, you look lost, he says, voice dripping with mock concern. You bite your lip to keep from laughing. Apollo's playing Zeus like a cheap harp. Olympus, huh? Big thing, hard to miss. You check under Hera's peacock throne. Zeus's face reddens, and you duck. Lower, not wanting to catch a stray thunderbolt. The air crackles, smelling of ozone, and Apollo's overpriced ambrosia cologne, and you know this is about to get good. A mainstream fact slides in. Apollo, god of the sun, music, and prophecy, was often portrayed as Zeus's golden child, driving his sun chariot across the sky to light the world. His role was critical in Greek myth, tying the cosmos to mortal time. A quirky tidbit: some ancient poets claimed Apollo's chariot had a divine auto-locate feature, like a godly LoJack, which makes his smugness here extra rich. Historians still argue whether Apollo's prophecies were genuine or just poetic. Flexing, but right now, he's definitely got the upper hand. You shift, your sandal crunching a stray comet shard, and Apollo's eyes flick your way. You freeze, heart pounding, but he just winks, like he knows you're eavesdropping and doesn't care. You're not sure whether to be flattered or terrified. He turns back to Zeus, twirling a lyre pick. Lucky for you, I've got the best. Ride in the lot. Sun Chariot's got GPS godly positioning system. Want me to take a spin? Scan the cosmos for your misplaced real estate? His tone's so patronizing, you're surprised Zeus doesn't smite him on the spot. Zeus grumbles, clearly hating this, but he nods. Fine, but keep it quiet. Hera's already on my case. You smirk. Good luck with that. Apollo hops into his chariot, the engine roaring with a sound like 1,000 suns igniting. You feel the heat on your face, and your tunic flutters in the sudden breeze. The chariot lifts, hovering, and you notice a dashboard glowing with star maps, pulsing, dots, and a blinking icon shaped like a mountain. Your pulse quickens. Could that be Olympus? You lean forward, trying to memorize the coordinates, but the screen's all divine gibberish. The chariot's light sweeps the lot, and you duck as it grazes your hiding spot. Apollo's voice carries over the hum. You owe me, old man. And maybe park better next time. You can't help it, you snicker, then clap a hand over your mouth. Zeus glares at the mist, but Apollo's already peeling out, his chariot blazing a golden trail that makes your eyes water. You blink, spots dancing in your vision, and realize you're alone with Zeus again. He's muttering about uppity, kids, and kicking a glowing pebble that zips off like a tiny meteor dot. You decide to move, following the faint trail of Apollo's light. The ground scuffed here, same as before, with those drag marks that scream, something massive was here. You kneel, running your fingers over them, and feel a faint hum, like Olympus's essence is lingering. You glance back at Zeus, who's pacing oblivious. You're tempted to wave him over, but you'd rather not be a lightning pincushion. Instead, you mark the spot in your mind, hoping Apollo's tech can confirm it. The air shifts, carrying a faint lyre riff Apollo's. Still close, probably circling back to gloat. You smell nectar now, sweet and sticky, mingling with the lot's electric buzz. The mist swirls, revealing more parked rides. A chariot with grapevines, Dionysus, obviously, and one with owl carvings, Athena's, no doubt. You wonder if the whole pantheon's in on this drama. A cackle echoes, definitely a satyr, maybe Hermes' spy, and you feel the stakes climbing. Apollo's on the hunt, Zeus is floundering, and you're stuck chasing a mountain that's starting to feel like a cosmic prank. You push forward, the drag marks guiding you, as the lot hums louder. Your sandals slip, and you catch yourself on a hovering platform that beeps indignantly. You mutter an apology, because why not? And keep moving. The marks curve toward a darker patch of mist, where the air feels heavier, like it's hiding something. You pause, heart thumping, and wonder if Olympus is closer than you think, or if someone's leading you straight into trouble. You're weaving through the cosmic parking lot, the starry ground cool under your sandals, as Apollo's golden chariot trail fades into the mist. The air hums with a faint electric buzz, like the universe is gossiping about Zeus's latest fiasco. You're on your own now, the drag marks from Olympus barely visible, when a soft glow cuts through the haze. It's Athena, goddess of wisdom, perched on a hovering platform etched with owl motifs. She's scribbling on a glowing tablet, her gray eyes sharp, like she's already solved this mystery and is just waiting for everyone else to catch up. You duck behind a vine-tangled chariot Dionysus's, reeking of wine, and hold your breath, because Athena's not the type to miss a mortal snooping. The mist swirls, carrying a crisp scent of olive oil and parchment, and you feel the air steady, like Athena's presence is calming the chaos. She's in a pristine white toga, her bronze helmet tucked under one arm, and her spear leans against the platform, glinting with a light that feels judgmental. Zeus is trudging toward her, thunderbolt dim, looking like he'd rather face a titan than ask for help. You smirk. The king of the gods, about to get schooled by his own daughter. You're ready for a masterclass in divine problem solving, but you're also hoping she doesn't spot you. Those owl eyes miss nothing. Athena, Zeus mutters, scratching his beard. Olympus is misplaced? Ideas? His voice is gruff, like he's trying to sound in charge, but Athena's already raising an eyebrow. You bite your lip to keep from chuckling. Zeus is so out of his depth, it's almost cute. Almost. Athena taps her tablet, and a holographic map of the cosmos flickers to life, dotted with stars and glowing lines. "Father," she says, voice calm but edged with gentle sarcasm, "let's retrace your evening, logically." You lean forward, intrigued. This is about to get good. She gestures at the map, and you squint, spotting a blinking dot labeled, "Oh." Your heart skips Olympus. The map shifts, zooming into a tangle of divine roots, and you realize she's mapping Zeus's chaotic night. "You were at Dionysus's tavern," she says, not a question. Zeus winces, and you stifle a laugh. Busted. The air warms slightly, like Athena's logic is stabilizing the lot's weird vibes, and you smell a faint whiff of laurel, her sacred plant. You're tempted to wave and say, "Go, Athena," but you'd rather not be turned into a particularly wise spider. A mainstream fact pops up. Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategy, was born fully armed from Zeus's head, a myth symbolizing her role as his rational counterpart. Her logic was revered in ancient Greece, guiding heroes like Odysseus. A quirky tidbit: some ancient texts claim Athena invented the first divine abacus, a proto-computer for cosmic calculations. Historians still argue whether her wisdom was purely divine or a metaphor for human ingenuity. But right now, she's the only one with a plan. You're rooting for her, even if you're stuck in the shadows. Athena's map pulses, and she points to a cluster of stars. You left the tavern, then where? Zeus mumbles something about a mortal bar, and Athena's eyes narrow. "Kai, mortal bar?" She repeats, and you can hear the unspoken "Really, Dad?" You snicker, then clap a hand over your mouth. Her platform hums, and you notice a tiny owl perched on it, staring right at you. You freeze, heart pounding, but the owl just blinks, like it's saying, "I see you, but you're not worth the paperwork." You exhale, safe for now. Zeus gestures vaguely. "I parked Olympus nearby, I swear." Then it wasn't there. Athena sighs, the sound of a goddess who's dealt with this nonsense before. "We'll need a timeline," she says, sketching on her tablet. The map updates, showing a path from the tavern to a mortal realm hotspot, then a blank spot where Olympus should be. You lean closer, trying to memorize the coordinates, but the map's runes are gibberish. Still, you feel a spark of hope Athena's got this, and you're along for the ride. The mist shifts, revealing more scuff marks on the ground, like the ones you've been tracking. You kneel, feeling a faint pulse, and realize they align with Athena's map. Your pulse quickens another clue. You glance at her, wondering if she's noticed, but she's busy grilling Zeus about his quick stop at the mortal bar. "Was Hermes there?" she asks, voice sharp. Zeus shrugs, and you smirk. Hermes is always where the trouble is. The air crackles faintly, like Athena's brain is rewiring the cosmos. And you smell ozone mixing with laurel. You decide to move, following the scuff marks, while Athena keeps Zeus busy. The ground's slicker here, and you slip, catching yourself on a chariot wheel that beeps like an annoyed goose. You mutter, "Sorry," and keep going, hoping Athena's owl isn't taking notes. The marks lead toward a darker patch of mist, where the air feels heavy, like it's guarding a secret. You pause, heart thumping, and hear a faint lyre riff Apollo, probably circling back to gloat. You roll your eyes. This pantheon's drama is worse than a mortal soap opera. Athena's voice carries, calm but firm. "We'll check the mortal realm next." Logically, Olympus can't have gone far. You admire her confidence, but you're not so sure divine parking fails feel like they defy logic. The mist swirls, carrying a cackle, definitely a satyr, maybe Hermes' spy, and you feel the stakes rising. Athena's on the case, Zeus is floundering, and you're chasing a mountain that's starting to feel like it's playing hide and seek. You're creeping through the cosmic parking lot. The starry ground slick under your sandals, as Athena's glowing map fades into the mist behind you. The air's got a shifty vibe now, like it knows something you don't, and it smells faintly of leather and mischief. You spot Hermes, god of messengers and thieves, leaning against a sleek, winged chariot that looks like it was built for joyrides and heists. His caduceus staff twirls lazily in one hand, snakes hissing softly, and his winged sandals hover an inch off the ground. You duck behind a chariot, piled with amphory Dionysuses, probably, and hold your breath, because Hermes has a knack for spotting trouble, and you're definitely trouble adjacent. The mist swirls, carrying a whiff of cedar and something sharper, like divine espresso. Hermes runs on caffeine and chaos, you're sure. His grin is all sharp edges, like he's already sold Zeus's missing mountain on the divine black market. You're tailing the scuff marks from Olympus, still, pulsing faintly when Hermes whistles, low and mocking. Lost something, mortal? He calls and your heart lurches. He's looking right at you, eyes glinting like he's reading your soul's browser history. You freeze, half expecting him to zap you, but he just laughs, like you're a mildly amusing side quest. You step out, trying to play it cool, though your tunic's sticking to your back. Just sightseeing, you mumble, and Hermes snorts, twirling his staff. Sure, and I'm just delivering mail. He jerks his head toward a dark alley between parked chariots, where the mist is thicker, almost oily. Heard you're chasing Olympus. I might know a guy who knows a guy. You raise an eyebrow. Hermes' leads are shadier than a Cyclops' cave, but you're desperate. Zeus is still with Athena, probably getting a lecture on divine responsibility, so you've got time to play detective. Hermes saunters toward the alley, and you follow, sandals crunching on stray comet dust. The alley's lined with flickering runes, like divine graffiti, and you catch a whiff of burnt papyrus. Someone's been burning evidence. A mainstream fact pops up. Hermes was the god's messenger and guide, often escorting souls to the underworld, but he was also a trickster, stealing Apollo's cattle as a baby. A quirky tidbit: some ancient merchants swore Hermes blessed their deals with lucky shortcuts, which usually meant shady backroads. Historians still argue whether Hermes was a divine hustler or just misunderstood, but right now, he's your only shot at a clue. He stops at a glowing crate, kicking it open to reveal a pile of scrolls, and is that a mortal cell phone? You blink, thrown, but Hermes just shrugs. Found it at a mortal bar. Zeus's last stop, maybe. Your pulse quickens. Athena mentioned that bar. You lean in, spotting a scroll with a sketch of Olympus, scuff marks and all, labeled Last Seen. Nectar. Dive. You smirk. A dive bar named Nectar Dive sounds exactly like Zeus's vibe. Hermes winks. I don't snitch, but that scroll's got legs. Check the mortal realm near Thebes. You nod, memorizing the name, but you're not dumb. Hermes doesn't give freebies. What's the catch? You ask, and he grins wider, snakes on his staff, hissing like they're in on the joke. Catch? Nah, just don't tell Athena I helped. She's got this logic thing, cramps my style. You roll your eyes. Hermes dodging Athena's spreadsheets is peak pantheon drama. The air shifts, carrying a faint lyre riff. Apollo, still circling, probably live-streaming Zeus's meltdown. You stifle a laugh. This crew's worse than a mortal reality show. Hermes tosses you the scroll, and you catch it, the parchment warm, like it's charged with divine Wi-Fi. You glance at the scuff marks on the ground, still glowing, leading out of the alley toward a shimmering portal. Your heart races. Mortal realm. Here you come. Hermes is already backing away, wings on his sandals fluttering. Good luck, mortal. Don't get smote. He vanishes in a blur, leaving you with the scroll and a bad feeling. You unroll it, scanning the sketch. Olympus, parked near a mortal tavern with a note. Check the drunks. You snort. Sounds like Dionysus's crowd. The portal hums, smelling of earth and ale, and you step closer, the mist coiling around you. You hear a distant cackle satyrs, always spying, and feel the stakes climbing. A mainstream fact: Thebes, a key city. In Greek myth, was a hub for divine shenanigans, often visited by gods in disguise. If Zeus parked Olympus there, it's probably causing a mortal riot by now. You tuck the scroll into your tunic, hoping Hermes isn't setting you up for a cosmic prank. You pause, checking the scuff marks again. They're fainter now, but they align with the portal's edge, like Olympus was dragged through. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and wonder if the mountain's closer than anyone thinks. The air crackles, and you smell nectar, sweet and sticky, mingling with the alley's grit. You're about to step through when you hear Zeus's distant bellow. Athena must have hit a nerve. You smirk, picturing her waving her tablet like a divine PowerPoint, and push forward, ready to chase Hermes' lead into the mortal realm. You step through the shimmering portal, leaving the cosmic parking lot's starry glow behind, and land on a rocky cliff overlooking a churning sea. The air's salty, heavy with the tongue of brine, and waves crash below, spraying mist that clings to your tunic like a damp hug. You're in Poseidon's domain now, and the vibe is all, "Don't mess with me," oceanic swagger. You spot him lounging on a coral throne, trident gleaming, his beard dripping with seawater that sparkles like it's got its own Instagram filter. You duck behind a barnacle-crusted boulder, heart thumping, because Poseidon's got a temper, and you're pretty sure mortals aren't on his VIP list. The cliff hums under your sandals, vibrating with the sea's rhythm, and you catch a whiff of kelp and something sharper divine ego, probably. Poseidon's grinning, tossing his trident like it's a cosmic fidget spinner, and you know he's heard about Zeus's missing mountain. You're clutching Hermes' scroll, the sketch of Olympus tucked in your tunic, but you're not dumb. Enough to flash it here. Poseidon's eyes, green as a stormy sea, scan the horizon, and you swear he's laughing at Zeus's expense. You're about to witness a brotherly roast, and you're hoping it comes with a clue. Zeus is trudging up the cliff, thunderbolt dim, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Poseidon," he growls, "you seen Olympus? And don't lie, I'll." No. Poseidon's laugh booms, shaking the cliff, and you grab the boulder to stay upright. "Me? Steal your cloudy clubhouse? Brother, I've got oceans to run." His tone's teasing, but there's an edge, like he's enjoying Zeus's panic a bit too much. You smirk. These guys have been bickering since the Titan War, and you're front row for the latest episode. You stifle a chuckle at Poseidon's. Probably got a seashell group chat roasting Zeus right now. Poseidon leans forward, trident sparking. "You sure you didn't leave it at that mortal dive bar?" "Nectar dive, was it?" Your ears perk up. "Same place," Hermes mentioned. You pat the scroll, pulse quickening, but Poseidon's not done. "Or maybe," he says, eyes glinting, "Olympus floated off on my tides. Ever think of that?" Zeus's face reddens, and you bite your lip to keep from laughing. Poseidon's trolling, but the tide idea is not crazy. Olympus could be adrift somewhere. You're tempted to whisper, "Check the currents, genius," but you'd rather not be fish food. A mainstream fact slides in. Poseidon, god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses, was a major player in Greek myth, often clashing with Zeus over divine turf. His trident could stir storms or split mountains, making him a serious suspect in this mess. A quirky tidbit: some ancient sailors claimed Poseidon's moods shifted with the tides, and a calm sea meant he was napping. Historians still argue whether Poseidon's rivalry with Zeus was sibling drama or a metaphor for natural forces. But right now, his smug grin says he's loving this chaos. You shift, your sandals scraping the cliff, and Poseidon's head snaps. Your way. You freeze, heart in your throat, as his eyes narrow, scanning the boulder. Who's skulking about? He rumbles, and you're pretty sure you're about to be a coral reef's new tenant. But Zeus, bless his distracted heart, saves you. Focus, brother. Olympus, where is it? Poseidon rolls his eyes, leaning back, and you exhale, safe for. Now, you notice his throne's base glowing faintly, etched with runes that pulse like a sonar map. You squint, spotting a blinking dot labeled O, and your pulse races another Olympus lead. The map shifts, showing currents swirling around Thebes, near Nectar Dive. You lean closer, dodging a spray of sea foam, and memorize the coordinates. Poseidon's still taunting Zeus, waving his trident like a conductor. Maybe your mountain's on my reef, hosting a fish party. Want me to check? Zeus snarls, thunderbolt sparking, and you duck as a stray bolt zaps a nearby rock, leaving it smoking. You smirk. These guys need a divine family therapist. The air crackles, smelling of ozone and salt, and you feel the cliff tremble like Poseidon's. Flexing his earthquake powers just to mess with Zeus, you decide to move, following the cliff's edge toward a path leading inland. As scuff marks from Olympus are here, fainter but still glowing, winding toward the mortal realm. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and wonder if Poseidon's tides really did drag the mountain. A sea roars below, and you hear a distant lyre riff Apollo. Still circling, probably tweeting #Zeus is lost. You roll your eyes. This pantheon's worse than a mortal gossip blog. The mist swirls, carrying a cackle satyrs, always spying, and you feel the stakes climbing. Poseidon's voice booms again. Check Thebes, brother. Mortals love your shiny toys. You pause, glancing back. He's grinning, but his eyes flick to the sonar map, and you realize he's not as clueless as he acts. Zeus stomps off, muttering about useless siblings, and you slip away, heart pounding. The path to Thebes is your next stop, and Hermes' scroll feels heavier, like it's daring you to dive deeper into this divine mess. You're scrambling down the cliff path, the salty tang of Poseidon's domain, fading as you hit a dusty trail that smells of iron and ash. The air's hotter now, thick with a restless energy that makes your skin prickle, and you know you're in Ares territory. The war god's presence is unmistakable. Think less noble warrior, more guy who'd start a bar fight over a spilled drink. You spot him ahead, revving a flaming war chariot that looks like it was forged in a volcano. Its wheels spit sparks, and you duck behind a jagged rock, heart pounding, because Ares isn't exactly known for welcoming mortals with a smile. The trail's littered with broken spears and dented shields, like a battlefield yard sale. And you catch a whiff of smoke and leather, sharp enough to sting your nose. Ares is shouting into a glowing orb divine walkie-talkie, maybe? His voice all gravel and rage. Olympus? I'll find it, old man, but it'll cost you. You smirk. He's talking to Zeus, who's probably regretting this call. You're clutching Hermes' scroll, the sketch of Olympus, burning a hole in your tunic, and you're hoping Ares' reckless energy leads to a clue, not a smiting. Zeus appears, trudging up the trail, thunderbolt flickering like a dying flashlight. Ares, enough! Just check the skies Olympus might be floating. Ares snorts, slamming a fist on his chariot, which roars like a ticked-off dragon. Floating? What, like one of Aphrodite's perfume clouds? You lost it, Pops. You stifle a laugh, nearly choking on dust. Ares' disrespect is bold, even for a god, and you're loving the chaos. But you keep low those chariot flames, look like they'd BBQ a mortal in seconds. Revs the engine, and the ground shakes, kicking up grit that gets in your eyes. You blink, cursing under your breath, as he shouts, I'll tear through the heavens. If Olympus is up there, it's mine. You roll your eyes. Typical Ares, turning a search into a conquest. The air crackles, smelling of burnt metal, and Zeus's frustration. And you notice the scuff marks from Olympus, still glowing faintly, winding past Ares' chariot. Your pulse quickens another lead, but you're not dumb enough to check it with Mr. War Rage looming. A mainstream fact pops up. Ares, god of war, was feared in Greek myth for his brutal, chaotic nature, often clashing with Athena's strategic approach. His chariot was said to blaze across battlefields, inspiring terror. A quirky tidbit. Some ancient poets claimed Ares once lost his own spear in a drunken bet, which makes you wonder if he's any better at keeping track of stuff than Zeus. Historians still argue whether Ares was a symbol of war's destruction, or just a divine loose cannon. But right now, he's a loose cannon with horsepower. You shift, your sandal crunching a stray arrowhead, and Ares' head snaps you away. His eyes, red as forge embers, lock onto your rock, and you freeze, heart in your throat. Who's spying? He bellows, hefting a spear that looks like it could skewer a titan. You're about to become a mortal shish kebab when Zeus growls. Focus, boy. Olympus now. Ares snarls but turns, muttering about nosy mortals, and you exhale, safe. For now, you notice his chariot's dashboard glowing, a crude map pulsing with a red dot labeled O. Your heart races Olympus again? The map's rough, smeared with ash, but it points toward Thebes, near Nectar Dive, just like Poseidon's sonar. You lean closer, dodging a stray spark, and memorize the coordinates. Ares climbs into his chariot, still yelling at Zeus. I'll find your stupid mountain, but I'm keeping any loot. Zeus's thunderbolt sparks, and you duck as a bolt zaps a nearby boulder, leaving it charred. You smirk. These guys are one family dinner away from a cosmic brawl. The air hums, and you hear a faint lyre riff Apollo, still circling, probably betting on Ares to crash first. You decide to move, following the scuff marks, while Ares' chariot roars skyward, trailing flames that make your eyes water. Marks are fainter now, but they lead toward a shimmering haze, like another portal to the mortal realm. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and wonder if Ares' sky hunt will beat you to Thebes. The trail's dustier here, and you cough, wishing you'd brought a divine face mask. A cackle echoes satyrs, always lurking, and you feel the stakes climbing. Ares is a wild card, Zeus is desperate, and you're stuck chasing a mountain that's starting to feel like a cosmic joyride. You pause, checking Hermes' scroll. The sketch of Olympus matches the marks, and the note, check the drunks, feels more urgent. You tuck it away, heart pounding, and step toward the haze. The air shifts, carrying a whiff of nectar and ale, and you know Thebes is close. You're about to dive in when Ares' chariot loops back, low enough to singe your tunic. You dive behind a rock, cursing, and watch him vanish, shouting about glory. You mutter, good luck, hothead, and push forward, ready to beat him to the punch. You're stumbling through the shimmering haze, the dusty trail of Ares' warpath fading as you emerge in a smoky workshop that smells of molten metal and genius. The air's thick, warm enough to make your tunic cling, and you hear the rhythmic clang of a hammer on anvil. You're in Hephaestus' forge, and the god of fire and craftsmanship is hunched over a glowing workbench, tinkering with a gadget that looks like a cross between a sextant and a disco ball. You duck behind a pile of bronze ingots, heart thumping, because Hephaestus might be the chillest Olympian, but you're still a mortal in his private lab, and that's a bold move. The forge is a maze of gears, bellows, and half-built contraptions, lit by a lava-like glow that casts flickering shadows. You catch a whiff of charcoal and something sweeter divine oil, maybe, keeping these machines purring. Hephaestus, with his soot-streaked beard and muscled arms, is muttering to himself, adjusting a device that hums with a low electric buzz. You spot Zeus lurking near a rack of glowing tools, Thunderbolt dim, looking like he's about to ask for tech support. You smirk. The king of the gods, reduced to begging the family mechanic for help with his missing mountain. Hephaestus, Zeus says, voice gruff but tinged with desperation. Can you track Olympus? Build something? Hephaestus doesn't look up, just grunts. Lost your mountain, huh? Sloppy. You stifle a laugh, nearly knocking over an ingot. Hephaestus's bluntness is gold, and Zeus's skull could curdle nectar. The gadget sparks, and you lean closer, spotting a tiny screen flashing. With coordinates. Your pulse quickens another Olympus lead. You're still clutching Hermes' scroll, the sketch of Nectar Dive burning a hole in your tunic, and you're hoping Hephaestus's tech can point you to Thebes. Hephaestus tweaks a dial, and the device beeps, projecting a holographic map of the cosmos. This baby's a divine locator, he says, voice like gravel. Finds anything chariots, spears, runaway mountains. You're impressed, but you also notice his workbench is littered with quirky prototypes. A self-stirring cauldron, a winged sandal charger, even a tiny robot owl that hoots off key. You bite your lip to keep from giggling. Hephaestus is this Pantheon's mad scientist, and you're here for it. Zeus paces, muttering about Ares' useless sky hunt, and you roll your eyes family drama. As always, a mainstream fact slides in. Hephaestus, god of fire and craftsmanship, was revered in Greek myth for forging divine weapons, like Zeus's thunderbolts and Athena's shield. His workshops were said to be hidden in volcanoes, blending tech and magic. A quirky tidbit. Some ancient texts claim he built automatons early, robots to guard his forge, which makes you glance nervously at that robot owl. Historians still argue whether Hephaestus's creations were literal or symbolic of human ingenuity, but right now, his gadget looks like your best shot at finding Olympus. You shift, your sandal scraping a gear, and Hephaestus's head snaps up. His eyes, sharp despite the soot, lock onto your pile of ingots, and you freeze, heart in your throat. Who's there? He growls, hefting a hammer that could flatten a chariot. You're about to become a mortal pancake when Zeus snaps. Focus. Hephaestus, Olympus now. The smith grumbles but turns back to his device, and you exhale, safe for now. The map zooms in, showing Thebes, with a blinking dot near Nectar Dive. Your heart races same spot as Poseidon's sonar and Ares' map. Jackpot. You lean closer, dodging a stray spark, and memorize the coordinates. The locator beeps, and Hephaestus frowns. Signals faint. Something's cloaking Olympus divine interference, maybe. You perk up. A cloaking device? That's new. Zeus curses, blaming Poseidon, but you're thinking Hermes, or even Dionysus. Those guys love a good prank. The air crackles, smelling of ozone and molten bronze, and you hear a distant lyre riff Apollo, still circling, probably betting on Hephaestus to crack this. You smirk. This pantheon's a circus, and you're stuck in the ring. You decide to move, following the scuff marks from Olympus, still glowing faintly, leading out of the forge toward another hazy portal. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and wonder if Hephaestus's locator can beat you to Thebes. The forge's heat is intense, and you wipe sweat from your brow, wishing you'd brought a divine water bottle. A cackle echoes satyrs, always spying, and you feel the stakes climbing. Hephaestus's device is a game changer, but Zeus's impatience might ruin it. You slip past a clanking automaton, muttering, "Don't snitch," and head for the portal. The map's coordinates burn in your mind, and you check Hermes' scroll again. The sketch matches the locator's data, and the note, "Check the drunks," feels urgent. You tuck it away, heart pounding, as the portal hums, smelling of earth and ale. Zeus's voice booms. "Hurry up, Hephaestus." And you wince, hoping. He doesn't break the locator in a tantrum. The mist swirls, and you step through, ready to chase Olympus to Thebes, where the mortal realm's chaos might just hold the key. You step through the portal, the forge's molten heat swapping for a warm, earthy breeze that smells of wheat and sun-baked soil. You're in Demeter's realm now, a sprawling golden field where stalks sway like they're humming a lullaby. The air's soft, almost too gentle, and you feel your shoulders relax, even as your sandals sink into loamy dirt. Demeter's perched on a wooden throne woven with vines, her green eyes scanning the horizon like she's counting every blade of grass. You duck behind a towering sheaf of barley, heart thumping, because Demeter's calm vibe hides a fierce streak, and you're a mortal trespassing in her sacred harvest. The field glows with a faint, golden light, and you catch a whiff of fresh bread and something floral poppies maybe, her sacred flower. You're still clutching Hermes' scroll, the sketch of Olympus tucked in your tunic, and you're hoping Demeter's earthy wisdom can point you to Thebes and Nectar Dive. Zeus is trudging toward her, thunderbolt dim, looking like a kid who broke Mom's favorite vase. "Demeter," he says, voice low. "Olympus is gone. You sense anything?" Demeter's eyebrow arches, and you smirk. Zeus is about to get a maternal lecture, and you're here for it. She leans forward, fingers brushing a stalk that curls toward her like a pet. "Gone? You mean you misplaced our home?" Her voice is warm but sharp, like a sunbeam with teeth. You stifle a laugh, nearly rustling the barley. Demeter's not buying Zeus's excuses, and you're loving the shade. The earth speaks. "Brother, if Olympus touched my fields, I'd know." You perk up her connection to the land might be the key. The air hums, smelling of dew and nectar, and you notice the scuff marks from Olympus, faint but glowing, winding through the field. Your pulse quickens another clue. Demeter rises, her chitin rippling like a wheat wave, and walks barefoot, the ground blooming under each step. "Let's see," she murmurs, kneeling where the marks glow. You lean closer, heart racing, as she presses a hand to the soil. The earth pulses, and you feel it in your bones, like a heartbeat. "Olympus was here," she says, eyes distant. "Its roots grazed my fields then, moved." Zeus blinks, confused, and you roll your eyes. "Roots? Olympus has roots?" You're intrigued, but you keep low Demeters, not one to miss a mortal sneaking in her domain. A mainstream fact pops up. Demeter, goddess of agriculture, was central to Greek myth, her grief for Persephone shaping the seasons. Her cult at Eleusis promised initiates eternal life, tying her to Earth's cycles. A quirky tidbit: some ancient farmers claimed Demeter's blessings made crops sing literally under a full moon. Historians still argue whether her myths were about fertility or human resilience. But right now, her earth whispering is your best lead. You're rooting for her, even if you're stuck in the barley's shadows. Demeter traces the marks, and you notice her throne glowing faintly, etched with runes that pulse like a living map. You squint, spotting a blinking dot near. Thebes, labeled O. Your heart leaps same spot as Hephaestus's locator and Poseidon's sonar. She's onto something. "Thebes," she says, voice soft but firm. Your mountain's trail leads there, near a mortal tavern. Zeus groans, muttering about Nectar Dive, and you smirk. Hermes' scroll was right. You're tempted to cheer. But Demeter's poppies are watching, their petals twitching like tiny spies. You shift, your sandal snapping a stalk, and Demeter's head snaps your way. Her eyes, green as new sprouts, lock onto your barley pile, and you freeze, heart in your throat. "Who's there?" She calls, voice like a warm wind, but edged with warning. You're about to become a cautionary tale for trespassing mortals. When Zeus grumbles, "Demeter, focus. Thebes, you said? She sighs, turning back, and you exhale, safe for now. The map on her throne shifts, showing Thebes' fields, and you memorize the coordinates, itching to bolt for Nectar Dive. The air shifts, carrying a faint lyre riff Apollo, still circling, probably composing a ballad about Zeus's flop. You? Stifle a chuckle. This pantheon's drama is relentless. Demeter stands, brushing dirt from her hands. Go to Thebes, brother. But tread lightly, mortals notice divine messes. Zeus nods, looking like he'd rather face a hydra, and you decide to move, following the scuff marks toward a shimmering haze. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and wonder if Olympus's roots are closer than you think. A cackle echoes satyrs, always lurking, and you feel the stakes climbing. You check Hermes' scroll, a note. Check the drunks, now screaming urgency. The sketch matches Demeter's map, and you tuck it away, heart pounding. The haze hums, smelling of ale and mortal sweat, and you know Thebes is near. Zeus's voice fades as he argues with Demeter about earth nonsense, and you smirk, picturing her rolling her eyes. The field's glow softens, and you step through the haze, ready to chase Olympus, where the mortal realm's chaos might finally spill the truth. You stumble through the haze, the golden glow of Demeter's fields fading into a humid, grape-soaked haze that smells like a winery after a bender. You're in Dionysus's domain now, a sprawling vineyard where vines twist like they're dancing, to a beat you can't hear. The air's thick, heady with fermenting fruit, and a vibe that screams, party now, regret later. You spot Dionysus himself, sprawled on a leopard-skin couch, wine goblet in hand, his eyes half-lidded, but glinting with mischief. You duck behind a gnarled vine, heart thumping, because Dionysus might be chill, but his parties have a way of turning mortals into maenads or worse. The vineyard pulses with a low, rhythmic hum, like a bass line from a divine rave, and you catch a whiff of nectar, and something sharper wild herbs, maybe, sacred to his cult. You're clutching Hermes' scroll, the sketch of Olympus tucked in your tunic, and you're hoping Dionysus's drunken ramblings hold a clue to Thebes and Nectar Dive. Zeus is weaving through the vines, thunderbolt dim, looking like he's regretting every life choice that led to this moment. Dionysus, he groans, you hear anything about Olympus? Dionysus hiccups, sloshing wine, and you smirk. This is gonna be a train wreck, and you've got front row seats. Dionysus grins, lazy but sharp, like a cat toying with a mouse. Olympus? Big shiny hill, right? Might have seen it. Or dreamt it. His voice is a slurred purr, but you catch a glint in his eye that says he knows more than he's letting on. You stifle a laugh, nearly snapping a vine. Zeus's face is a storm cloud, and you're loving the chaos, but you keep low Dionysus's. Leopards are prowling nearby, their eyes glowing like they're sizing you up for a snack. The air swirls warm and sticky, and you feel the party's pull, tempting you to grab a goblet and join the madness. He swings his legs off the couch, spilling wine that sizzles on the ground like divine acid. Was at Nectar Dive last night. He slurs, with some mortals. Saw something mountainy. Parked weird. Your pulse spikes Nectar Dive again? Hermes' scroll was dead on. Zeus leans in, desperate, and you're tempted to whisper, pay attention, big guy. But you'd rather not be a leopard's chew toy. Dionysus twirls his thyrsus staff, pinnacone sparking, and you notice a glowing bracelet on his wrist, pulsing with a tiny map. You squint, spotting a blinking dot labeled O near Thebes. Jackpot. A mainstream fact pops up. Dionysus, god of wine, ecstasy, and theater, was a latecomer to the Olympian pantheon, his wild rituals shaking up Greek religion. His mysteries promised divine connection through revelry. A quirky tidbit. Some ancient vases show Dionysus riding a drunken mule, which tracks with his vibe tonight. Historians still argue whether his cult was about liberation or dangerous excess. But right now, his sloppy hint is your best lead. You're rooting for him, even if you're dodging his leopards in the vines. You shift, your sandal crunching a grape, and Dionysus's head tilts your way. His eyes suddenly clear, lock onto your vine, and you freeze, heart in your throat. Who's creeping in my vineyard? He drawls, voice like a velvet trap. You're about to become a cautionary tale for sober mortals when Zeus snaps, Dionysus? Focus, where's my mountain? Dionysus chuckles, leaning back, and you exhale, safe for now. The map on his bracelet shifts, zooming into Thebes' outskirts, and you memorize the coordinates, itching to bolt for Nectar Dive. The air thickens, carrying a faint lyre riff Apollo, still circling, probably live-streaming Dionysus's sloppy performance. You stifle a chuckle. This pantheon's a reality show, and you're stuck in the drama. Dionysus downs his goblet, muttering, "Check the drunks at Nectar Dive." One of them was chatty. Zeus curses, blaming Hermes for dragging him to that bar, and you smirk. Sounds about right. The vineyard hums louder, and you notice the scuff marks from Olympus, faint but glowing, winding toward a shimmering haze. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and wonder if Dionysus's party crowd saw something real. You decide to move, following the marks, while Dionysus rambles about mountain vibes. The ground sticky with spilled wine, and you slip, catching yourself on a vine that groans like it's hungover. You mutter, "Sorry," and keep going, hoping the leopards aren't tracking you. A cackle echoes satyrs, always spying, and you feel the stakes climbing. Dionysus's hint is solid, but his clarity's fading fast. You check Hermes' scroll. The note, "Check the drunks," now blazing with urgency. The sketch matches. The bracelet's map, and you tuck it away. Heart pounding. The haze hums, smelling of ale and mortal sweat, and you know Thebes is close. Zeus's voice fades as he argues with Dionysus about party nonsense, and you smirk, picturing him dodging wine stains. The vineyard's glow softens, and you step through the haze, ready to chase Olympus where mortal drunks might just spill the divine tea. You slip through the haze, the vineyard's boozy warmth giving way to a cool, silvery glow that smells of dew and wildflowers. You're in Artemis's realm now, a moonlit forest where shadows dance like they're keeping secrets. The air's crisp, tingling your skin, and you hear the soft hoot of an owl, sharp enough to make you jump. Artemis is nearby, perched on a gnarled oak, her bow slung across her back, her silver eyes scanning the night like a predator. You duck behind a mossy boulder, heart thumping, because Artemis is all about the hunt, and you're a mortal crashing. Her sacred woods, not exactly a safe bet. The forest hums with a quiet energy, like the moon itself is watching, and you catch a whiff of cedar and something sharper divine focus, maybe bottled in Artemis's glare. You're still clutching Hermes' scroll, the sketch of Olympus tucked in your tunic, and you're hoping her tracking skills can point you to Thebes and Nectar Dive. Zeus is stumbling through the underbrush, thunderbolt dim, looking like he's ready to trade his crown for a nap. "Artemis," he calls, voice low. "You're good at finding things. Olympus any sign?" Artemis's head tilts, and you smirk. Zeus is begging his daughter for help, and she's not impressed. She leaps down, landing silent as a shadow, her chitin shimmering like liquid moonlight. "You lost our home?" she says, voice cool but edged with sarcasm. "Maybe try not parking it in mortal dive bars." You stifle a laugh, nearly dislodging a pebble. Artemis's shade is surgical, and Zeus's wince is pure gold. You're loving this, but you keep low. Her hounds are circling, their eyes glinting, like they smell your mortal panic. The air shifts, carrying a faint pulse, and you notice the scuff marks from Olympus, glowing faintly under the moon. Your pulse spikes another clue, and Artemis is already on it. She kneels, fingers brushing the marks, and the ground hums like it's whispering to her. Olympus passed through, she murmurs, eyes narrowing. Its glow lingers faint, but traceable. You lean closer, heart racing, as she pulls a silver amulet from her belt, its surface pulsing with a tiny map. You squint, spotting a blinking dot labeled O near Thebes, same as Dionysus' bracelet and Demeter's throne. Jackpot. Zeus mutters about nectar dive, and you're tempted to whisper, "Told you." But you'd rather not be a hound's chew toy. A mainstream fact pops up. Artemis, goddess of the hunt, moon, and wilderness, was a fierce protector of her domain in Greek myth, often depicted tracking with unmatched skill. Her cult revered her as a virgin goddess, untamed by mortal or divine drama. A quirky tidbit: some ancient hunters swore Artemis's arrows glowed under moonlight, guiding them to impossible prey. Historians still argue whether her independence was a feminist symbol or a divine archetype. But right now, her tracking is your best shot at Olympus. You're rooting for her, even if you're dodging her hounds in the shadows. You shift, your sandal crunching a twig, and Artemis's head snaps your way. Her eyes, sharp as crescent moons, lock onto your boulder, and you freeze, heart in your throat. Who's lurking? She calls, knocking an arrow faster than you can blink. You're about to become a mortal pincushion when Zeus groans. Artemis. Focus. Thebes, you said? She lowers her bow, muttering about clumsy mortals, and you exhale, safe for now. The amulet's map zooms in, showing Thebes' outskirts, and you memorize the coordinates, itching to race to nectar dive. The air chills, carrying a faint lyre riff Apollo, still circling, probably betting on his twin to outshine Zeus. You stifle a chuckle. These siblings are relentless. Artemis stands, slinging her bow. Thebes, father. Follow the mortal stench tavern's reek of it. Zeus nods, looking like he'd rather wrestle a hydra, and you decide to move, following thee. Scuff marks toward a shimmering haze. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and wonder if Olympus's glow is closer than you think. A cackle echoes satyrs, always spying, and you feel the stakes climbing. You check Hermes' scroll, the note, check the trunks, now screaming urgency. The sketch matches Artemis's map, and you tuck it away, heart pounding. The haze hums, smelling of ale and mortal sweat, and you know Thebes is near. Zeus's voice fades as he bickers with Artemis about hunting nonsense, and you smirk, picturing her rolling her eyes. The forest's glow softens, and you step through. The haze, ready to chase Olympus, where mortal chaos might finally crack this divine mystery open. You emerge from the haze, the moonlit chill of Artemis's forest swapped for a dank, sulfurous heat that smells like regret and bad decisions. You're in the Underworld, Hades' realm, where the air's heavy with ash and a faint whiff of pomegranate, probably Persephone's doing. The ground's a mix of obsidian and bone-white dust, crunching under your sandals, and you spot Hades himself, lounging on a throne of blackened skulls, his three-headed dog Cerberus snoring at his feet. You duck behind a stalagmite, heart hammering, because Hades isn't exactly a welcome mortals kind of god, and you're definitely not on the guest list. The cavern hums with a low, eerie drone, like the dead are whispering gossip, and you feel a chill despite the heat. You're clutching Hermes' scroll, the sketch of Olympus tucked in your tunic, and you're hoping Hades' dark humor holds a clue to Thebes and nectar dive. Zeus is slinking in, thunderbolt dim, looking like he'd rather face a titan than his brother. Hades, he mutters, you hiding Olympus down here? Hades' laugh is a dry rasp, like gravel in a crypt, and you smirk. Zeus is about to get roasted, and you're here for the shade. Hades leans forward, his eyes glinting like polished. Onyx, hiding your mountain? Brother, I've got enough real estate headaches with the dead. His voice drips with mock pity, and you stifle a laugh, nearly dislodging a pebble. Cerberus twitches, one head snuffling, and you freeze, praying you don't become a mortal chew toy. But Hades adds, smirking, I heard about your nectar dive bender. Left Olympus parked like a drunk mortal's chariot, huh? You perk up nectar dive again. Zeus's scowl could curdle Styx water, and you're loving this divine sibling smackdown. He swirls a goblet of dark liquid, probably not wine, and you notice a glowing ring on his finger, pulsing with a tiny map. You squint, spotting a blinking dot labeled O near Thebes, same as Artemis's amulet and Dionysus's bracelet. Your pulse spikes another hit. Hades taps the ring, grinning. My shades gossip, Zeus. Word is, your mountain's causing a stir in Thebes. Mortal drunks love shiny things. You're tempted to whisper, spill the tea, Hades. But Cerberus's middle head is eyeing your stalagmite, so you stay put. A mainstream fact pops up. Hades, god of the underworld, ruled the dead in Greek myth, a stern but fair deity, often misunderstood as evil. His realm was a place of judgment, not torture for most souls. A quirky tidbit. Some ancient Greeks believed Hades kept a ledger of every soul, like a divine accountant, which tracks with his sly VOD tonight. Historians still argue whether Hades was a villain or just a cosmic middle manager. But right now, his gossip is your best lead. You're rooting for him, even if you're dodging his dog in the shadows. You shift, your sandals scraping ash, and Cerberus's left head growls, low and rumbly. Hades' eyes flick your way, sharp as a scythe, and you freeze, heart in your throat. Got a stowaway? He drawls, raising an eyebrow. You're about to become a permanent underworld resident. When Zeus snaps, Hades, focus. Thebes, you said. Hades chuckles, leaning back, and you exhale, safe for now. The ring's map zooms in, showing Thebes' taverns, and you memorize the coordinates, itching to bolt for nectar dive. The air thickens, carrying a faint lyre riff Apollo, still circling, probably betting on Hades to troll Zeus hardest. You stifle a chuckle. This pantheon's a soap opera, and you're stuck in the plot twist. Hades stands, his cloak billowing like smoke. Check Thebes, brother. But don't expect my shades to clean up your mess. Zeus curses, blaming Dionysus for the bar tip, and you smirk. The blame gains strong here. The cavern hums, and you notice the scuff marks from Olympus, faint but glowing, winding toward a shimmering haze. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and wonder if Hades' shades really saw something. You decide to move, following the marks while Hades teases Zeus about mortal bar tabs. The ground's slick with ash, and you slip, catching yourself on a stalagmite that groans like it's annoyed. You mutter, sorry, and keep going, hoping Cerberus isn't tracking you. A cackle echoes satyrs, always spying, and you feel the stakes climbing. Hades' hint is gold, but his amusement makes you nervous. You check Hermes' scroll, the note. Check the drunks, now screaming urgency. The sketch matches. The ring's map, and you tuck it away. Heart pounding. The haze hums, smelling of ale and mortal sweat, and you know Thebes is close. Zeus's voice fades as he argues with Hades about underworld nonsense, and you smirk, picturing Hades rolling his eyes. The cavern's glow dims, and you step through the haze, ready to chase Olympus where mortal drunks might finally spill the divine beans. You step through the haze, the underworld's ashy chill giving way to a warm, gritty breeze that smells of spilled ale and mortal sweat. You're in Thebes now, the mortal realm, where the air's thick with the chaos of a city that never sleeps. You're standing outside Nectar Dive, a ramshackle tavern with a crooked sign and walls stained by years of divine and mortal debauchery. The ground's muddy, littered with broken amphorae, and you spot the scuff marks from Olympus glowing. Faintly, leading right to the tavern's door. Your heart races, you're close, and Hermes' scroll, tucked in your tunic, feels like it's burning with the truth. The tavern's noise hits you like a wave. Laughter, slurred songs, and the clink of cups. You duck behind a stack of barrels, heart thumping, because mortals might not smite you, but a drunk crowd can be just as dangerous. You're hoping that Shady drunks, Dionysus and Hades mentioned, spill something about Olympus. Zeus is nowhere. In sight, probably still bickering with Hades, but you're not waiting for him. The air's warm, sticky with nectar's sweet tongue, and you catch a whiff of roasted meat and something sour, like regret after a long night. You peek through a grimy window, spotting a rowdy crowd, merchants, farmers, and a few shady types. Look like Hermes' cousins. One guy, red-faced and waving a cup, is shouting about a shiny mountain parked outside last night. Your pulse spikes Olympus, for sure. You check the scroll, the sketch matching the tavern's layout, and the note, check the drunks, feels like a neon sign. You're tempted to barge in and demand answers, but you'd rather not start a riot. Instead, you slip closer, keeping low, as the scuff marks pulse underfoot, like Olympus is whispering, "Find me." A grizzled old man stumbles out, muttering, about a golden hill that vanished at dawn. You lean in, catching his words. "It was here, I swear." Glowed like the god's own palace. You smirk. Mortals always exaggerate, but he's onto something. You notice a glowing trinket on his belt, a tiny map, pulsing with a dot labeled O, just like Hades' ring and Artemis' amulet. Your heart leaps another hit, and it's pointing inside the tavern. You're about to follow him back. And when a cackle echoes satyrs, always spying, and you freeze, ducking behind the barrels again. A mainstream fact pops up. Thebes, a key city in Greek myth, was a hotspot for divine visits, from Dionysus' birth to Oedipus' tragedy. Its taverns were melting pots of mortal and godly gossip. A quirky tidbit, some ancient Thebans claimed their ale was brewed with nectar, giving it a divine kick, probably why Zeus liked nectar dive. Historians still argue whether Thebes' myths were historical or symbolic, but right now, its drunks are your best led. You're rooting for them, even if you're dodging their spilled drinks in the shadows. You shift, your sandals squelching in mud, and the old man's head snaps your way. His eyes, bleary but sharp, lock onto your barrels, and you hold your breath. Heart in your throat. Who's there? He slurs, waving his cup like a weapon. You're about to become a tavern legend when a burly bouncer yells, "Back inside, Gramps." The old man stumbles off, muttering about nosy kids, and you exhale, safe for now. The trinket's map glows brighter, and you memorize its coordinates, itching to sneak into Nectar Dive. The air shifts, carrying a faint lyre riff Apollo, still circling, probably betting on the mortals to crack this case. You stifle a chuckle. This pantheon's a circus, and you're the accidental ringmaster. You notice the scuff marks again, stronger now, leading to a back alley behind the tavern. You kneel, feeling a pulse, and spot a faint golden glow in the distance, like Olympus's. Essence lingering. Your heart races. Could it be here? You're tempted to chase it, but the tavern's your best bet. You slip toward the door, dodging a drunk who's singing off-key about Zeus's shiny hill. You check Hermes' scroll one last time, the sketch and note aligning with the tavern's chaos. The map on the old man's trinket flashes in your mind, and you know you're close. The door creaks open, and you slide inside, the noise swallowing you whole. The crowd's a blur of flushed faces and wild stories, and you weave through, ears straining for Olympus talk. A woman in the corner, eyes glassy, mutters about a mountain that moved. You pause, heart pounding, and lean closer, ready to piece together the final clue in this divine wild goose chase. You're inside Nectar Dive, the tavern's chaos wrapping around you like a sweaty, ale-soaked blanket. The air's thick with laughter, slurred boasts, and the cloying sweetness of nectar-tainted wine. Tables are sticky. The floor is a minefield of spilled drinks, and you weave through the crowd, heart pounding, as you chase the woman's muttering about a mountain that moved. The scuff marks from Olympus glow faintly underfoot, pulsing like a divine SOS, and you're clutching. Hermes' scroll, its sketch of nectar dive, now a perfect match for this grimy scene. You're so close to finding Olympus, you can almost taste the ambrosia, but you keep low, because a mortal asking about godly real estate might spark a riot. The woman slumped in a corner, her hair tangled, her cup half empty. She's rambling. To no one, eyes glossy, about a golden hill that danced away at dawn. Your pulse spikes Olympus, no question. You slide onto a bench nearby, pretending to sip a cup of watery ale and listen. It was right outside, she slurs, gesturing wildly. Shining like the god's own throne. Then poof, gone. You smirk. Mortals love their drama, but she's got details Hermes would kill for. You notice a glowing pendant around her neck, pulsing with a tiny map, just like the old man's trinket in Hades' ring. The dot labeled O blinks, pointing to a spot just beyond Thebes' jackpot. You lean closer, catching her words. Some drunk swore it floated off, like Poseidon's tides took it. You stifle a chuckle, remembering Poseidon's smug teasing maybe his tides did mess with Olympus. The tavern's noise surges, and you spot more clues. A bard strumming a lyre, singing about a mountain's flight, and a merchant waving. A sketch that looks suspiciously like your scrolls. Thebes is buzzing with Olympus gossip, and you're piecing it together, heart racing. The scuff marks lead to a back door, and you feel a pull, like the mountains calling you to finish this chase. Zeus bursts in, thunderbolt sparking, and the crowd quiets, sensing divine trouble. Where's my mountain? He roars, and you duck under a table, heart in your throat. The woman blinks unfazed and mutters, "Told ya, it danced off." Zeus doesn't hear, too busy glaring at a group of drunks who scatter like roaches. You smirk. Big guy's late to the party, as usual. You crawl toward the back door, following the glowing marks, and slip outside into an alley where the air's cooler, smelling of dust and faint nectar. The golden glow you spotted earlier is stronger now, pulsing beyond a hill outside Thebes. You sprint toward it, the scroll's coordinates aligning with the pendant's map. The hill's crest reveals a massive, shimmering silhouette Olympus. Parked crookily in a field, its peaks wreathed in clouds. Your breath catches. It's real, and it's glorious, like a cosmic skyscraper that forgot where it belongs. But before you can celebrate, the gods arrive, Apollo's chariot blazing, Athena's owl circling, Hermes zipping in with a grin. They're bickering already, and Zeus storms up, thunderbolt blazing. Found it. He bellows, but Hera's voice cuts through. And now we park it properly, or I'm done. You stifle a laugh. Divine parking wars are next level. The gods swarm Olympus, arguing over who gets credit. Apollo claims his GPS, Athena her logic, Hermes his leads. Poseidon and Ares shove each other, Dionysus hiccups a toast, and Demeter mutters about, uprooting her fields. You watch from the shadows, grinning. This pantheon's a mess, but they're family. A mainstream fact pops up. Olympus was the gods' eternal home in Greek myth, a symbol of divine order, yet often rocked by their squabbles. A quirky tidbit. Some ancient poets claimed it could shift to teach the gods' humility guess. Zeus got that lesson. Historians still argue whether Olympus was a physical peak or a cosmic idea, but tonight it's very real and very fought over. You shift, your sandal crunching gravel, and Artemis's head snaps your way, her bow half raised. You freeze, but she just winks, like you're in on the joke. You exhale, safe, and watch the gods wrangle Olympus back to its cosmic lot, still bickering over parking rights. You've done your part, mortal, and the night's fading. The stars soften, the air cools, and you feel a gentle pull, like the young universe is tucking you in. The field grows quiet now, the gods' voices drifting like a distant lullaby. You're lying in soft grass, the glow of Olympus fading into a warm, golden haze. Your eyelids grow heavy, the hum of the cosmos a soothing whisper, like a fan's soft drone. The scuff marks, the scroll, the tavern's chaos, they blur into a dream, each detail melting into starlight. You're safe, wrapped in the night's embrace. The god squabble's just a story now, fading with your breath. Let the meadow hold. You let the stars watch over. Sleep comes, gentle as a tide, carrying you to a place where mountains never wander. Sweet dreams.